Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. So, I'm going to read you an article from People. It's actually a very sad article. Um, but while I'm reading it to you, I want you to think about what sacrifices would you make for your children? Or what sacrifices have you made for your kids? Um, I'll just put it like this. I tried to put myself in this father's place to see if those results could have happened to me. I don't think they would. My daughter is my life. I will do anything for her, make any sacrifice. No sacrifice is too great. So I want you to keep that in mind as I read you this article. It's by Christine Polisky from People, Friday, October 9th, 2020, so it's a couple of days ago. Today's Sunday, the 11th of October. It says family neighbors of man accused of not letting cops break window to free daughter from hot car speak out. So it goes on to say the mother of a Las Vegas man who was charged in the death of his 1-year-old daughter who died in a locked Nissan Altima on Monday night has spoken out to say her son was not negligent. Sydney Dill, 27, was arrested on Tuesday and charged with child abuse, neglect, or endangerment resulting in substantial bodily harm after accidentally locking his 21-year-old daughter, or 21-month-old daughter, Sayhaya Dill, inside his hot car. He then allegedly refused to break the windows to free her, apparently not wanting to damage the car and believing she was in air conditioning. He asked the officers to help him, Sydney Dill's mother, Artavia Wilson, told Kloss. My son was not negligent. The way he handled it was not that he cared more about the car. He thought his daughter was in air conditioning. He has yet to enter a plea. His attorney, Robert Langford, declined to comment. I haven't had an opportunity to meet with him yet, he tells People. We're very early in the process. Dill flagged officers to the scene around 3:30 p.m. Monday. The officers offered to break the windows, call a tow truck, or get a locksmith for Dill, who had left his keys inside the car, according to the Las Vegas Journal-Review. Citing an arrest report from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, authorities said Dill declined and told responding officers the child would be fine because the air conditioner was running. Instead, Dill called his brother. When the brother arrived and offered to punch out the window, Dill allegedly shot him and said he wanted to wait for a tow truck and insisted he not damage his new vehicle, stating he had just bought the car and did not have the money to repair a broken window. The arrest report said, according to the Review Journal. Dill's girlfriend also allegedly told police she'd called a locksmith, but the dad didn't like the price they quoted, so he denied their services, the outlet reported. Police believe Sayah had been inside the hot car for over an hour when an officer finally broke open a window, Las Vegas Sun reported. By then, Sayah was already dead, according to the publication. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department officer Larry Hadfield said the officers waited to break into the car because Dill was adamant about protecting the vehicle, and they could still see the child breathing. The officers arrived and they could see the child breathing, he tells People. The parent was adamant not to break the window. They tried all other means, and the officer became concerned and broke the window. It is a tragic event. Police encourage parents and friends to not leave kids unattended in vehicles. This is one of those circumstances that could have been prevented. The cops got out and assisted him with the car. And then he said the air was on. They said, oh, okay, a locksmith was coming. Dill's mother, Artavia Wilson, said, my son is a great father. He works. He is a very responsible young man. Darius Jones, a neighbor of Dill's girlfriend, told the Review Journal that he believed what happened was a tragic accident. I can genuinely say that since the baby was small, he's loved on her. He said, I've never seen a bad time when he had that little girl in his possession. But the little girl's mother, Mariah Coleman, 28, said she wants justice for her daughter. If you loved and provided for your daughter so much, why did you let her die? Coleman said at a vigil for Sayah Tuesday night, the Review Journal reports. He had no remorse in his mugshot, she said. My baby is gone, and I need somebody to do time. A preliminary hearing is scheduled for December 3rd. So, this goes back to us raising our young, our kids. I'm looking at the mugshot. I'll share it on my Facebook, The Dan Dawson Show. Make sure you send me a friend request on there. And I'm not going to judge this man by his mugshot, but I assume the baby's mother knows him better than I do. Actually have a story that happened to me in Germany when my daughter was a toddler, actually an infant, like 1.5. So her mother would often stop at stores, and because of the car seats and stuff, she wouldn't always take my daughter out of the car seat, and she'd run into the store. So, and we were in the military. So one day I'm driving by the shopette. I see her car. And I told her about this, right? And this is about noon. So I look in the car. She's in the shopette. My daughter's in the car. Car's unlocked. So I grab my daughter, throw her in my car, and take her back to our off-base apartment. Didn't say anything. It's noon. I called my squad leader, Craig Forehand at the time, and told him what was happening. He was like, yeah, take the day. Let's see what happens. So about 4:30, I get a call. And she's like, somebody kidnapped Felicia. Now keep in mind, this is 4.5 hours later. And I'm like, really now? She's like, yeah. I was like, well, what'd you do? She's like, well, I called the MPs and they called the Polizei, and I'm like, really now? Really? It's like, you can call off the search. I've had our daughter since noon, since my lunch break. She's here with me. You leave a kid, people, where you leave $1 million. That's just how I feel about that. So once I alerted MPs to what had happened, and the Polizei, I appreciate the Polizei for this. They thought it was a good lesson taught. So they didn't give me any kind of medals or anything. But hey, that taught a very valuable lesson, and that never happened again. Never happened again. Also, something else that struck me about this story, right? Says he thought the AC was on. For those of you who know anything about cars, actually, you don't have to know anything about cars. If you've left your AC running while your car is idling, that AC makes a little whirring sound every once in a while. So I'm kind of wondering why you didn't catch that. And then the thing of not breaking the window, somebody had to be watching this baby girl sweat, because it's not like she just died of heat exhaustion and didn't sweat at all. That had to be visible. I'm a former combat medic. I know. It had to be. She had to be having visible signs. So what kind of father? Because I didn't always have money. I don't have a lot of money now. I don't have Jerry Jones money. I can't retire right now. Well, I could, but I really love money. As much as I love money, if I didn't have the money at the time to get that window fixed, then that window just gets broken. I'll put up some plastic on it. Or it's Vegas. It's hot. I don't know what to think about this situation. But I know this, with the mother defending him when her grandchild is dead, notice she never said he made a horrible mistake. She didn't say anything like, I love my son, but he made a mistake. No, she goes, my baby wasn't negligent. He loves his daughter. And that's another case of us defending our kids even when they're wrong. So I really kind of think about how this young man grew up. Probably was never told no. Probably was never told he was wrong. And that's our fatal flaw with our kids. It's a fatal flaw my parents didn't have. Another side note story. You don't think my parents are tough? My mom is 70 years old. I just talked to her last week. What's today? Sunday. I gotta give her a call probably tomorrow. But she threatened to kick my ass just last week. To put this in perspective, my mom is 5'1", maybe weighs 90 pounds. I'm 6'2", 220. And I'm like, I didn't even do anything. She's like, oh, you did something. I just don't know about it. When I find out, though, I'm kicking your... I'll use the exact words she used. This is my mama. She's like, when I find out, I'm going to kick your black ass. I'm like, I literally just been sitting in the house watching TV. I didn't even do anything. But we need those parents back, and we need to be those type of parents. Remember, there's nothing wrong with correcting your child. You're doing them more of a disservice when you don't correct them, when you don't make sure they're on the right track, than when you forgive them for everything. See, that's some liberal hive mindset crap right there, where your child never does anything wrong. You never discipline your child. You reason with them. You know, reason with an 8-year-old, really? That's what you're going to do? That makes a lot of sense. So I just want to know what you guys think about that. Is there something I'm missing here? Am I off the mark? So if you guys could comment in the comments below. Also, tell me about the sacrifices you've made for your kids. Now, I posted a thing on my Facebook the other day about there's nothing wrong with wearing cheap clothes as long as you're providing for your kids. Who cares? I know that for a fact. We have a big family. It's 8 of us. My dad wore the same clothes for 30 years. I mean that literally. Literally, he'll tell you. But that was a sacrifice he made. This is his family. He had to take care of us. It is what it is. So take care of your kids. Love them more than you love yourself or any possession, because they are your most prized possession. So thank you for watching this episode of The Dan Dawson Show. Remember to go put in a friend request on my Facebook. That way you can see when I do new shows. Like, subscribe, do what you got to do.